everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Um,
Yeah, we're here again. Thank you for tuning in. What are we doing today, Mela?
so we're gonna be doing a mukbang,
Mukbang or mukbang?
mukbang.
I don't know.
It's just something that's been viral on YouTube. A lot of people, well, YouTubers, buy a lot of food and just talk about
Life.
life,
I guess.
goals, beef they have with someone else, just like stuff like that. So we're gonna be doing one today. It's gonna be about our plans for 2019, our marriage, how we first met, and all that stuff.
All that. And we got Chipotle today, so shout out Chipotle for the food. Oh my God, Chipotle! Chipotle's my life. Shout out to the OGs who know Vine. And yeah, so
You know how to talk Spanish?
yeah.
So I'm gonna be talking Spanglish.
I don't know. Leave a comment below how many of you guys ripped the bag, so you don't have to put your hand all the way through the bag to get some chips. I only learned that a few years ago, so it's the greatest thing I've ever learned. And yeah, so I got a steak burrito bowl. And damn, tragosote.
Told you I was thirsty.
Thirst. Hashtag thirst.
Thirst life.
That magnet buck thirst or whatever.
Okay, so
Where do we start?
let's start off with how we met.
Okay. How did we meet?
So we met at church.
Yes, we did.
It's something that unique, because not a lot of people meet at church. It's usually at bailes, a friend, or como
Yeah, bars, clubs.
bar, yeah, but not at church. So for a couple weeks, my cousin would invite me to youth events at the one that used to be the church he went to. So I always was like, no, like I'm fine. I was like, I don't have time. I work. And he was just like, oh, okay. And then like he kept insisting like, hey, come on, we're gonna have another one. So I just got ready and I ended up going. I arrived there and of course I walk in with my cousin because I was like, I don't want to go in alone. I don't know anyone other than my two cousins, my auntie, my uncle. And so I walk in and then the very first person I see is him.
Yeah, so a little backstory. So I grew up in churches, and at this church I was a youth leader and whatnot. And so we had this event, and we had a couple churches coming from Phoenix, Arizona. We're in Albuquerque, and it was my turn to preach that night or whatever. And so I saw Pam walk in, and I work with youth, even though I'm 30 now. Pam's 21. At that time, that was 2 years ago.
I was
Yeah,
19.
19, and I was 28,
Mm-hmm.
turning 29. So all the girls at my church were either really older than me or divorced with kids, which I have nothing against, or really younger, like 18, 17, 19, and I was like, nah, I'm good. But then in walked Pam, the only blonde there at the church, and their beautiful colored eyes, and her cousin introduced her to me, and I was like, yo, yes, yes. So that was in August.
Like ending August.
Yeah.
Right?
So then 2016?
No, 2017.
No, because we got married 2017. Yeah, we got married 2017.
Damn.
So it was 2016. And so then whenever I preached, and she followed me on Facebook. She had like 14 different
You
Facebook.
followed me on Facebook.
Oh, sorry.
You added me.
All right, I added her on Facebook, but she had like 20 different Facebooks, so I didn't know which one to add. So I just added some random one, and
No, but remember, because before Facebook, I used to sell sunglasses.
but that was through Facebook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you at church. How did you find out though?
So
Did I tell you
you're
this at church or
no,
something?
you jumped the gun. So I follow her on Facebook, and that was in August, September. I started messaging beginning of September. Sorry. And she went to Juarez and came back. And she came back and posted on her Facebook that she was selling sunglasses. So I messaged her, and of course I didn't like the glasses. Not my style. But I was like, yo, dude, I want to get some glasses. The Daddy Yankee ones. It's like, yo, I like the glasses. You just swing by church so I can buy one from you. So she's just like, okay, but she never told me when she was going to go. So then she showed up, and of course, I don't carry cash, hardly ever. Excuse me. Well, so then she shows up, and I'm like, oh, I don't know which ones to choose. I'm trying to play the cool card. If you guys know me or see me, you think I'm very charismatic and stuff. I am, but I'm also very shy. So if I really find a girl attractive, or I really think a girl's cute, I shut down. And so I was like, I don't know which ones are cool. And I was being serious at the time, but then I saw I set myself up for like a cool little pickup line. So I'm like, oh, which ones look better on me? So tried them on, and of course she liked the reggaetonero glasses, the old school Daddy Yankees, the big with the two lines. And she's like, those looks great on you. So I was like, all right. So I got those. And then I kept messaging her, hey, let's go to, there's a place here in Albuquerque called Main Event. It's like, hey, let's go play pool. I was a big pool fan at the time. I sucked, but it was fun playing. And yeah, I'm okay. Not like anything good or special. So she would always be like, I'm down, and then, oh, I can't, I gotta work. Or she would cancel on me. So that happened like 2 or 3 times. And I was like, I'm seeming too desperate, you know? So I sent one last message. Yeah, I was like, one last time, and I was like, if she cancels, then, you know, she's not interested or whatever. And I was like, yo, let's go play pool Saturday night. And she was like, yeah. By this time, it's the ending of ending of September, beginning of October. So she ended up showing up to go play pool, and it was me, her cousin's best friend at the time, and her. And she showed up last. So, of course, the pool place on a Saturday night is packed.
I let everyone go in, and then I was like, I'm gonna go in at the end to see what his reaction is.
Yeah, so she said she was going, but the other time she'd be like, yeah, I'll go, and then like 10 minutes before, like, I can't make it. Which I didn't know was how she is. She knows she's not gonna make it.
What?
But you still to this day, we'll cancel on people 10 minutes before when we know we're not gonna make it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and I tell her, all right, cancel 5 hours before, and then she's like, oh, I forgot to message. Let me message. So I didn't know that was her thing. So then she showed up, and to my surprise, she was there. So we started talking, and from that was a Saturday, and I was like, yo, let me take you to dinner on a Friday. And she's like, word. I thought she was like 24, 25. How old did you think I was?
Like 26, 25.
Yeah, so she thought I was younger, and I thought she was older, just because she had her makeup done. As those who follow her on Instagram know, she balls out with the makeup. So we're having a really good time there. We're setting up catfish AF. So we're just really just planning out. We're talking with everyone, and I was like, yo, let me take you to the Cheesecake Factory next Friday. She's like, I'm down.
But I was like, is there only cheesecake? Oh, what the hell?
Oh, no. So I'm like, let's go eat cheesecake. She's like, word. And in that conversation, she asked me how old I was. I don't know how it happened. And I was like, oh, I'm 28 or something like that. And she's like, oh, wow. And I was like, well, how old are you? Aren't you like 25? She's like, I'm 19. And I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, oh, snapples. So I was like, well, you still down? And she said, yeah. So then throughout the week, I'm like, yo, I'm going to pick you up at this time. Be ready, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, is there food at the Cheesecake Factory or is it just cheesecake?
I had never been to Cheesecake in my life. The very first time I went there was for our date. Our very first date.
And they had just opened it in Albuquerque.
Yeah, so I was like, a date to Cheesecake, am I only gonna eat dessert? But, yeah.
Leave a comment below if the first time you tried cheesecake, you thought it was only cheesecakes.
I like the Parmesan herb crusted chicken.
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite?
The hibachi steak is my favorite. We had our first date. That was in October.
I think like the second week of October we started.
No, we started dating October 7th, remember?
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't it have 2 numbers?
No, that's for our engagement. So we started dating October 7th. Finally, we were texting, talking, we went on our date, it was great. So I was never one of the guys to be like, oh, I'm seeing a girl. I'm always like, I never understood that concept of seeing someone and all that. So I was like, yo, I like you. Do you like me? Yeah. And she's like, well, are you going to do it or am I going to do it? And I'm responding like, no, I'm going to do it.
This
and
is through
like,
messages, by the way.
Text messaging, 10 o'clock, 11, no, like at midnight.
Midnight, actually.
I had the phone up like this, laying down, messaging, you know, when you're all in love and whatnot.
En las nubes.
Las nubes. So I'm like, she's like, are you going to ask me or am I going to have to? So I'm writing this message like, no, I'm going to ask. You know, I really find you attractive. You're very beautiful. But above your looks, you're super cool. Get great character. Would you like to be my girlfriend? As I'm writing that, she responds, do you want to go out with me? And I was like, no, you have to wait. I'm going to ask you. So then I sent my whole text. I was like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And she was like, yeah. So that was October 7th, 2016. So everything's great. October, November happens. You know, we're just chilling, going out, whatever. During Thanksgiving, Pam starts messaging me and she starts telling me like, when do I plan to get married? How old do I want to be when I get married? So I mean,
con todo.
Huh?
Yo andaba con todo.
Yeah.
Full blown.
Full blown dedication. And by this time, I mean that whole month of October and November, I mean, we saw each other 4 times, 5 times a week. You know, hours on end. Mm-hmm. You know, I was still
like from morning to like 10 at night.
Like if we only had 30 minutes between work and school, because she was in school and I was working a lot of hours at the time. You know, we would see each other for 30 minutes, then we dip, and then I'll be like, yo, I'm getting off like at 8. She's like, well, I'll get off at 9. Let's meet up at a Starbucks or whatever. I was like, she took me to a place called the Michoacana. I have that footage the first time she took me. It's on a hard drive, and I haven't figured out how to get it out yet, but I will, and I'll upload it in a later vlog. It was amazing. She never even heard of vlogging. And we were vlogging since we were together. I would vlog. You know, hey, this is me and my girlfriend.
Yeah, I was always like, what is he doing?
She's like, what is this? So then that's November. She's like, yo, when do you plan to get married? And I'm like, yo, I don't play this game of when do you plan. I was like, what's going through your head? Just spit it out. One thing that works for both of us is that we're really straightforward. We don't BS with anything. We don't try to hide it. Mm-hmm. She doesn't like something. She's not like, well, maybe let's have some. She's like, nah, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. And I like that because some girls will be like, okay. And then on the inside, they're like, I didn't want to eat that. So that way I know exactly what she wants.
Whatever you want to eat.
Yeah. She says that a lot. And I'm like, okay, Chipotle. And she's like, no. I don't even know why she said yes today. But I was like, I'm going to take that W. Take that dub. I haven't had Chipotle in a good minute. So she was like, well, I'm ready to get married whenever you are. So I was like, damn.
Straight up.
And I was like, why? She's like, why? What did you tell me? Do you remember?
What do you mean?
When I asked you, why do you want to marry me?
I don't remember. Because you're cute.
That's true. So, by the way, if you guys think she's pushing and she's doing all this, it's not true. I knew the moment I saw her that I was going to marry her. But I was also extremely older. By my accounts, 9 years.
I didn't.
So, I was like, I'm not going to push it because she's young. She might want to still wild out, do some crazy stuff. So, I was like, I'm not going to push it. And I have time. You know, I don't think there's a certain age you have to be married.
You were like, if you're not ready, if I wasn't ready, like pretty much saying he would wait for me.
Yeah, because she's
and
like,
I was just like, oh my god, you're so adorable.
she's like, oh, I'm down. And I was like, look, if you're not ready, that's cool. I ain't going nowhere. Like, don't think you're gonna lose me, or I'm not the guy that jumps from girl to girl either. I was like, so you let me know. So she's like, well, I'm ready whenever you are. And I was like, okay. So I took it serious. So I started making all the preparations. At work, I began to see when the work slows down. I work construction. So I can afford to take, you know, a week or two off.
He used to be working out of town a lot. Like, he would leave for weeks. There was time when we didn't see each other for a while. It was only through FaceTime.
Yeah.
Like, crazy hours he was working. He would literally just call me to say goodnight, and I was just like, oh my god, I miss you. So.
Pam's a polar bear. She sleeps like 20 hours. So we would wake up sometimes at 5 in the morning to start work. And then we would get off 6, 7 at night. Then we would go eat. So I would message her. And in my job, we had a containment. And at that time, you know, I was in and outside the containment talking to inspectors, making sure everyone had everything they needed, make sure we were all safe and all these things. So I couldn't really have my phone out too much. So I couldn't really text her throughout the day. So then I would text her once I was out, be like, yo, I'm grabbing dinner. What are you doing? And she was like, at work. So we have to wait for her to get out of work. And I'll be tired from 14, 15-hour shifts. And I would wait for her to get out of work, get home, FaceTime, even if it was just for 30, 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Be like, yo, I miss you, I love you, sorry, I'm really tired. How was your day? So when she was like, I just want to get married, I was like, all right, let's do it. I'm in. And so I started making the preparations. That's October, November, we're discussing marriage. Beginning of December, I'm like, okay, I need to start, pretty much get a ring, start looking for places to get married, what's the best month. So we had talked about it even before we were engaged.
I think I started looking for the court thing, right?
Yeah, like what paperwork do we need to file for our marriage license, and
it was a big hassle.
Yeah, and we were like, all right, we started moving on these plans, and yet I still hadn't asked her to marry me officially. So we went to a birthday party December 13th with my boss at the time, and we were just having a great time. And I'm telling my boss, yo, I really, really like this girl, blah, blah, blah. And granted, we're Mexicans here, so they're like, go full speed. So my boss was like, dude, if you're about her, you're about her. That's it. Why do you need to go look somewhere else? Lock it down. She's like, you guys look like a great couple. My boss is really, at the time, is really antisocial, so he didn't really have any friends, and he loved her. He still loves her to this day, messages her in a cool way, not in that creepy way, trying to slip in the DMs. So he's like, yo, dude, she's cool. Like, if I were you, you know, you run into this type of love, you should lock it down. And I was like, I am. So then December 14th came, and I called her sister-in-law, and I was like, yo, I'm going to ask Pam to marry me today. My mom's out there buying the ring for me. Because, again, I was still in New Mexico, but out of Albuquerque working. and I was gonna make the pilgrimage back, and
And that day I was so butthurt because I needed my purse and he was like, I'm working.
yeah, so she left her purse because of the party we were at in my car. And she forgot to take it out, so she's like, I need my purse. And I was like, I'll give it to you later, another day. So I'm working. So I called her sister-in-law, and I have videos of when I proposed. So we did this whole cute thing. Asked her to marry me. She said yes, and then it hit. I gotta go talk to her parents and tell them I'm gonna go marry their youngest daughter.
The baby.
The baby of the family. And her brothers are tall, they're big. Her sister's small, but she can be feisty and crazy. So I just called everyone over. I was like, y'all need to show up. To my surprise, her dad was like, I was like, yo, I asked your daughter to marry me. She said yes. So I'm coming to talk to you guys. I didn't talk before because I wanted to make sure she was going to say yes. Instead of going and can I marry and the whole deal. And then Pam be like, nah, just kidding.
Negative, coach.
That was just a joke. So her dad was like, her mom was like, whatever her dad says, I agree with. And I think her mom expected her dad to be like, no, you're too young, you're this and that.
Like, espérense un poquito más.
Yeah.
Or something, but he was just like, pues denle. And I was just like.
So he's like, pues dale. Si ella ya dijo sí. And her mom was like, no. Well, wait. And I was like, that's, for Hispanics, the dad is the one like, that once the dad says okay, it's really hard for the moms to sometimes overturn it. So once her dad said, pues dale, he's a good kid, he's a hard worker, he treats her well, I mean, like, she's been happy, might as well. And then she's like, no, well, this and that. And her dad became pretty much our defense. And he was like, well, how old were your parents? And how old were we? And how old were all these other things? So that happened December 14th. The whole family was aboard. They welcomed me, and I was grateful. So we're like, oh, yeah, we're planning to get married at the end of April, beginning of May. And then I get sick and start getting these chest pains, start going to the hospital. I have an irregular heartbeat. I've never had that before. So really just started getting sick. And it didn't look like I was getting any better. So I was like, we need to push back the wedding because I don't want to be sick walking down the aisle. Mm-hmm. So that was Christmas, spent together, New Year's, engaged in December. January comes, dealing with health issues. February comes, and Pam's just like, yo, let's get eloped. Let's go to court and let's just get married. We'll do the wedding later. Mm-hmm. It's like, I just want to be with you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I already talked to your parents and we already said we were going to do a wedding. She's like, no, I don't care.
I was like, we spend like all this time together. You're starting to get sick. He used to be at the hospital like 3 times a week. They couldn't find out what was wrong with him. So I was just like, and then I used to be like at work sometimes, like morning till night, whatever. So I was like, and I couldn't text at work since I was a cashier, so I couldn't have my phone on me or like not even like bed like a little bit. So I was just like that had me thinking. So I just told him, I was like, you know what? I was like, I told him I started looking for priests?
Judges.
Judge. A priest. They almost like I'm a priest.
I don't know.
Judges. So I found one in Bernalillo, right? Mm-hmm. And everything was free. So we went to get our I was gonna say business license.
Marriage license.
We went to go get our marriage license. Usually like within 2 days, huh? We got everything. So fun fact. I didn't know that when you get married through the court, you have to sign with his last name. Well, your significant other's last name on the paper. So when we signed everything, I was just like, okay. I signed como firmo, like my first and last name. And then who signed with his name and his first name, last name, whatever, all that. And then, like, I noticed after, I was like, well, where is it that I changed my last name? And you told me how you were like, well, you needed to sign it on the paper.
Your sister.
My sister? Oh, that's right. Because I told her, I was like, well, she has my cuñado's last name. So I was like, was I supposed to like sign? She was like, yeah, you were supposed to sign on the paper with his last name. I was just like, I didn't know. Because like, aparte of how everything was so quick, like, ni siquiera tuvimos tiempo to like see.
Like, do the right research.
Yeah. So I was just like, all right, we got married. My mom was my witness.
And my brother was